Hey, this is Matt once again. We're about to another video. This is another paid request, this time for Travis. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. This is for another episode of The Incredible Hulk, which I guess some people would say is kind of like the second pilot, because you had the first one, which displayed the origin, and then this one, maybe it's kind of them testing the waters to see, okay, if it does well again, we got a show. Or is it just something that we should do once in a while, a TV movie, something of that nature? Kind of like you had the Night Stalker, and then you had Kolchak, the Night Strangler. Well, actually, that's different things. Those were actual TV movies. This was different. But I just saying that I'm sure the same mentality was, okay, if this is successful, then this will be a show. Of course, The Incredible Hulk from the 1970s, which I've said before, I did not grow up with. I had heard about it many times. I had seen the clips. And when I said I didn't grow up with it, I did watch the two movies, the one with Thor and the one with Daredevil. I think, was it the Trial of the Incredible Hulk, maybe, and the Return? I forget the names of them. But like I said, I never watched the show. Now, throughout recent years, I've seen a couple episodes, and for the most part, they're fine enough to watch because of two things. David Banner, played by Bill Bixby, and Lou Ferrigno, who's the Hulk. Bill Bixby gives such a great amount of heart. I would also say humanistic, but I don't know if that would make sense. You really do care for the character. It brings a lot of the soul to the show. Where you can tell that he's a very nice guy, he's a very genuine guy who's trying to do the right thing, but you see a pain in his eyes that he wants to get rid of this demon, this Mr. Hyde to his Dr. Jekyll, but not laying it on thick and being melodramatic either. Bill Bixby just shows how he cares for his fellow person throughout these adventures where he's hitchhiking to try to find a way to survive or get rid of this thing, and then he'll stumble on into someone who needs help. In this case, he's hitchhiking, and the woman with crutches is walking around. She's hobbling back to the house, and she falls, and he helps her out, takes her back. And because he's a doctor, he realizes that the stuff they're giving her isn't the stuff they're saying, because in his mind he's thinking, wait a minute, that stuff is usually clear, but the stuff they're injecting this woman with, who supposedly can't walk, has color to it, the liquid. And so like I said, Bill Bixby as David Banner, not Bruce, David Banner, he, like I said, you really care for the character. And honestly, I would say, if someone were to ask me now who played the best Banner, I would say Bill Bixby. Again, watching the pilot, this one, a few of the other episodes, I would say he was the best Banner. Now, the various reasons how it's different from the comics is, number one, the budget, and number two, the creator. The creator of the show, for example, he didn't want to call him Bruce because, this is what I heard, someone said Bruce sounded too fey, too feminine, too gay. That's what I've heard. I don't know if that's true, but that's what it's changed to David. Dr. David Banner. And of course, because of the budget, it can't be he rescues someone, there's a big explosion. It's he had an experiment and ran awry. And of course, because of the budget, you're not going to have really any of the supervillains. The villains you would see in the comics. So I think that's one of those things that when I watch the show, like, I know it's a show of its time. I know it's a show that it didn't have the budget. If it tried to do that type of stuff, it would probably come off very hokey. It would come off as I enjoyed the original Star Trek, but you looked at some of the effects on those, you go along with it because of the time it was made, but you would still say, even though I love the original Star Trek, you say, okay, some of those effects are still hokey, but they have a charm to it. Maybe that's what would have happened here. Or maybe they go like Kolchak the Night Stalker, where you'd have these monsters, and like I said, there'd be a charm. Although that would be cool, like if the Hulk battled monsters like Kolchak the Night Stalker, and it was like, there you go, that's a crossover. That's a fucking crossover. Kolchak investigates some monster, and he thinks maybe it's David Banner, but it's this other monster, and he sees David Banner become the Hulk and helps Kolchak. And Kolchak writes it, but he scratches off, kind of like how, remember that Daredevil movie where Joel Pantoliano's going to give the identity of Daredevil, but he throws it away. There's other movies that have done that too. That's a crossover. Kolchak, the Night Stalker, and the Incredible Hulk. Both your 70s. That's a comic book. Why can't someone should make that comic? You do all these crossovers of comics. Do a crossover of that. Or Kolchak and the Ninja Turtles. I want to see those crossovers. But anyway, so you go into it knowing what it is, where it's going to be the Hulk battling regular bad guys that you know have zero upon zero chance against the Hulk. There's never a doubt that the Hulk will, you know, the Hulk will win. You know the Hulk will defeat these motherfuckers and barely break a sweat. But at the same time, you like Lou Ferrigno being big and gigantic and muscled up and just beating the shit out of people as much as they did away with in the 70s. So Dave is realizing that this woman is something may be up with the doctors. He tries to warn the stepmother. And there's some recognizable people in Death in the Family. Number one, you have the groundskeeper, kind of the guy who takes care. Well, yeah, the groundskeeper, Gerald McRaney, who I remember. He was on this TV show called Major Dad back in the day. He's done a few other stuff as well. He has a small part in that A-Team movie with Liam Neeson. Sadly, by about halfway through, he kind of, after an event, he disappears. He never comes back, which is too bad. He's a decent actor. Also, you have William Daniels as the Doctor. He was the voice of Kit on Knight Rider. He was also, I believe, Mr. Feeney on the TV show Boy Meets World. He's done a lot of other stuff too, William Daniels. But that's probably his two most famous roles. And David finds out that the stepmom is an evil stepmother, and she's working with the doctors and pretty much poisoning this girl because when that girl dies, the evil stepmom will get this money and so on and so forth. Now, this is about a 90-minute, I say episode, but pretty much a movie. And like I said, you're not going to get big action set pieces. You're not going to get big explosions and gun battles or, low expectations for a superhero show. But what does it have? What it does have is respect for its main character and its heart being in the right place. Unlike, say, She-Hulk. You look at She-Hulk, and to me, there's no respect for the characters, especially the Hulk. There's zero respect for it, that he's a joke and he's a goof, and the whole fucking show's a goof. Unlike this. No, the heart is David Banner wanting to help, trying to do his best, uses his mind, his intellect, trying to find evidence to show this girl that what's happened to you, you're being poisoned. And throughout the name there's about 4 times the Hulk's out. And, while I do wish some of the actors were utilized a bit more, like Joe McRaney, again, after the first Hulk out, you never see him again. I'd rather just say because he got the shit kicked out of him. But the fact that you never see him again, he seemed like he'd be a bigger player in the movie, as I call it, but or episodes didn't happen. The whole thing with the one reporter going after Banner, he shows up throughout the show. What was his name? McGee? Don't make me angry. You won't like me when I'm angry. To me, that's such a useless feature that I kind of wish they didn't have it. I mean, I get that he's kind of there. He's the reason why. One of the reasons why Banner can't stay. So I can understand that, but at the same time, it's just. It just seems like they don't really do anything else with that character. So sometimes his scenes would pop up, and it just seems like he just gets in the way of the rest of the story. It's like he's more of a prop to me than a character, at least at this point, of the stuff I've seen. I mean, the stepmom and William Daniels disappear in the third act. I was wishing to see them get their comeuppance. I'm not saying the woman, the Hulk grab her and put like the fucking choke slam into the earth, but some kind of comeuppance, even some kind of just throwing her into water, or they're both in a car and the Hulk breaks the car and scares the shit out of them, or the Hulk, makes the one girl evil step on faint or something. I wish we could actually see. We hear there's a comeuppance, but I wish we could have seen a comeuppance on those two, since they were our main villains. But Bill Bixby does a great job, I did, showcasing the humanity and the sincerity that that character should showcase. When Lou Ferrigno hulks out, you do get some fun moments, including a scene with a bear. I mean, there's the Hercules movie. I think also with Lou Ferrigno, right? Where he throws a bear into space. There's always Lou Ferrigno and bears. So the highlights of Lou Ferrigno's career is like him and bears. Or him and Arnold, who show almost his bare ass on Pumping Iron. But yeah, the Hulk tussling with a bear. Yeah, the Hulk throwing shit at a helicopter and it breaks the tail rotors. So you did some fun stuff with the Hulk. The other supporting, I did not mind the actress who played the woman who was hurt. Sometimes she was on the edge of being shrill with her voice, but she meant well, and I felt sorry for her, and I still didn't mind her. There's this guy who's a drunk, and there's a little bit more to him than you. We learn a little bit more about his character and his sincere attributes. That, he has a little bit of a past, and why he is the way he is, and there's some good left in this guy who's kind of a drunk, and I say homeless. He got home, but feels like in the middle of nowhere. Feels like he's lost his way, and you find out later why that is. So I didn't mind that character. And again, more into spoilers, I like the bit where the Hulk meets him. It reminds me of Bride of Frankenstein. Or even Young Frank. Honestly, I remind me more of Young Frankenstein, which is referencing Bride of Frankenstein, where the guy's not blind, but the monster goes to the old guy, and basically Young Frankenstein, when Gene Hackman gives cigars, and Gene Hackman gives Peter Boyle the cigar. Wow. Well, at this time, the old man gives him some chicken, but Lou Ferrigno eats the bone. Here's some alcohol. And he doesn't like it, and spits and some fire. So the Hulk doesn't like alcohol. He'd eat bones just like we eat gummy bears. The 4 Hulk outs. So I did like that scene. I thought, it was funny for what it needed to be. The 4 Hulk outs, I like the first one probably the best. Because he hulks out, he's just throwing people. Like, Joe McRaney's on the stairs, and the Hulk just breaks the stairs, and the guy collapses. Decent stalwart for a TV show. There's even something like that you could easily get hurt on. Or he's throwing people, and he trashes the place, and he breaks this, and the stuff comes down on almost everybody. The second Hawkeye was kind of almost unintentionally funny because the lady, he's trying to explain to the girl you're being poisoned. She doesn't believe him, so she keeps like hitting him in the head. He's like, no, stop it. She hits one too many times and he hulks out. He gets pissed. I'm like, oh no, he's going to take this woman who can't walk and throw her out the window. I would have laughed. I would, but he didn't, and picks her up and takes her away like he was Swamp Thing. Or the Fly, or Frankenstein monster. But doesn't hurt her. The third time is with the bear, which is probably the most memorable piece of this. Is David Banner's attacked in the water by the bear, and he pops out, and you just see they tried to cut around this, but if you look closely, when Lou Ferrigno is battling the bear, the green paint is running off and attaching itself to the bear. Like, they're trying to cut around it, but it's green paint, it's in the water, so it's going to get on the bear. So, but you can see that the bears get a bit more green. And of course he throws the bear, and it's a fake bear, of course, and they don't kill the bear, but he's definitely shaken up. And then the fourth one is that he gets stuck in quicksand, and ultimately the girl is able to realize, no, she can stand up. It was just the drugs and the doctors, make her think she can't. And this is her arc to overcome her fears and to help. And the Hulk throws something at a helicopter chasing them, and it breaks the tail rotor, which I thought looked neat for its budget and, again, for a TV bit. And things ultimately wrap up. The drunk guy, like I said, I didn't mind him. I liked how we find out again why he's so unhelpful, cynical. Maybe not cynical, but unhelpful at first. And like, I'm not going to give that away, but that was a nice little piece of business that gave a little bit more to that character. Like I said, Bill Bixby, he's good with the line delivery. Like, when he doesn't know the stepmom is evil first, and he's trying to explain, like, listen, while I stand here trying to dazzle you with my biochemical trivia, she could be in trouble. Now, that's a line that doesn't really flow off the tongue, but Bill Bixby, when he says it, you believe it. So, that takes a good actor to be able to take dialogue like that and make it, he believes in it, is sort of that line of thinking. So again, while it's weird, like I said, the stepmom and William Dan, like, they are the villains, and they don't show up, because the third act is pretty much David Banner, the girl, and the drunk guy going through the woods, being hunted down by dogs or helicopter. And like I said, you never see the last time you see William Daniels and the evil stepmom, the doctor and the stepmom, is where there's like 20 minutes left of the thing. Like, if you put them together, it's 90 minutes. Again, you would think there'd be at least one scene where the Hulk, or like something. But no. But I mean, so that was a bit kind of But overall, I didn't mind the story. I liked the performances. I liked the Hulk offs. I liked that we got 4 of them, so a decent amount. You had the bear scene and hulking out against Joe McRaney and his cronies were some highlights. And overall, it's a good barometer for the show. I would say if you watch something like this, you get a good showcase of what the show would be in a way, although I don't think some of them would have 4 Hulk outs. Some of them might have 1 or 2, so Maybe if you watch this, you'd be expecting more in other ones. I don't know. But this was pretty good. This one overall I did like the final product. I don't know how young people today would feel about the show when they're so used to all these superhero movies with superhero big battles and effects and big action scenes, and this one much more quaint. So I don't know how younger people would feel about it, but it's definitely delving a bit more into character and story than action and effects, because that's all they had to work with at the time. But yeah, it still makes for a better show than She-Hulk, undoubtedly. On a fraction of the fraction of a fraction of a budget that She-Hulk had. So, given what he was able to do, and influenced a lot of stuff. There are people to this day that still remember the show as a prominent feature of Marvel and its history, and that's not just comics. So with that said, thanks for watching, take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.